Hello, everyone, and welcome to another stream. I hope you guys are doing well today. I'm doing just fine. Why are you so long? You're not supposed to be this long. No, I did this yesterday, so it wouldn't be this long. Ugh. Oh boy, here we go. Here we go. You're supposed to be tiny. Why are you so big? You're literally supposed to be smaller. Ah, I see. I see. I see. Okay, alright. Anyways, how are you guys doing today? I'm doing just fine. I'm feeling so much better. I fell asleep and I was out after stream. I literally ended stream. I went and I laid down and I immediately fell asleep. My head was swimming. Because the messages are so long, I bet. Let me just save that to 3 instead. Then move that down here. Well, let me just change this to that. Is that big? Again, one day. It's not high on my priority list, trying to get a better Spotify looking description. I used to have one, but that no longer works. Therefore, I'm no longer that worried about it. Text height item width. I want like this to only be so big, but I don't think it's gonna give me that choice. So I guess this is just a life we're gonna have to live and hope that it works. For now. I'll figure out it all out later. Today, let me just move my stuff around. now that I no longer am going to be working on that, today we're going to be working on figuring out what the fuck we're doing with these goddamn cards. Also, I was going to check what my sound is like. Because my USB audio interface is dying. And we sound fine? Okay. Hi. Yes. So what we're doing today is we're still doing some game prep. We're still in Wretched Wasteland, and I think I'm committing to this one because I am excited about it. So I think I'm committing. I think we're all in on doing Wretched Wasteland. Sorry. So I have, like many people, I have various interests, right? I'm interested in a lot of things, and seemingly most of them are all kind of converging in on themselves. And I'm getting so many things have happened in the past like week, or are going to happen within the week. And I simply don't have the brain space to be excited for all of them. Like, I'm excited for let me just finish talking about it before I do this. I'm excited for, obviously, Destiny. I kind of only want to be playing Destiny. However, Helldivers today dropped their new war bond, and with the war bond, they also dropped an update which got you more stratagems and ship modules, or got you more ship modules, which means I'm gonna need to grind out a lot of rec slips and medals and samples. And I'm very excited to do so because a lot of new weapons came out. I also am excited for Bridgerton season 3's trailer drop today, and I've been seeing and watching all the small drops that they've been putting out over the past month. And so I'm very excited. I watched it. I'm very excited for it. And Beyonce's album Renaissance Act 2 came out last week, the week before last. I've still yet to listen to it because I haven't had the mental space to listen to it, but I listened to a little bit of the first track, thinking I was gonna be able to watch somebody else react to it, and therefore that would be like enough brain power for me. But I listened to like the first few seconds of the first track, and I'm like, God damn it, I have to listen to this myself, which is what I wanted to do. But like I said, my brain space not there. Oh, I forgot to do something. Let me put this back up here because I need my keyboard for this. What else am I excited for? This game I'm excited for Wretched Wasteland. I've been excited for it for a while. So this has been taking up my mental space also. Need to post this somewhere else real quick. Where's Blue Sky? Open up. Knock, knock, knock. It's the police. Open up. I come over here. I'm gonna come to stream musings. And we gotta do https dash www.twitch.tv/pvplayinside. Why are you so big? I hate when they're big. Anyways, so with all of that, and then like life things, obviously, are constantly my brain. So my brain space is really taken up by everything I'm excited for. Oh, Taylor Swift's album comes out next week, the day after my birthday. So it's just like a little bit of everything is taking up my brain. I'm glad I don't have anything planned for my birthday. Otherwise, I don't know what I would be doing with myself. I would be besides myself. So anyways, today we're working on on this on these playing cards, and I don't know exactly what I want to do. We discussed it a little bit yesterday, but my brain was melting, so I was unable to really fully articulate what I wanted. But we have our checklist of things we want to do. So last night I fell asleep, like I said. I was super dizzy, so like I went to go lay down and I instantly fell asleep. I woke up at I fell asleep at like 12 I ended stream, 11. I woke up at about 2 a.m. It was about to be 2 a.m. And I felt good. I no longer felt super dizzy. In fact, my body felt much better. I felt very healthy. So I woke up and I did a couple of things before I went back to bed, before sleepiness took me again around like 4 a.m. And I checked out because I didn't turn off my computer. I still had everything left up except stream things. And I saw that Roll20, it does have the ability to upload a full custom deck of whatever you want on it. And so does Tabletop Simulator, although a little more complex it looked like. But it did have the ability. We still have the Jenga tower. I need to put those in like a wish list so I remember, so I could just like go in and buy them as soon as I get the funds. The Jenga tower, the deck of cards, and the webcam. I need to research the webcam. I'm assuming like there's like a Logitech out there that I could pick up for like $20. I'm assuming 20 is like the cheapest I'm gonna get it, by the way. Like that's where we're at right now. We still need to figure out the layout for the map. I haven't put any thought into that. Aside from what we talked about. And of putting it where I have PB plays inside and the Spotify link. The idea is I have it down there, but I don't know. We have make my own deck ? That's what we're doing right now. We have to figure out what to do with the audio logs, right? Because the game wants you to record them, but also I feel like dictating them might be a good play. We have to figure out the layout for the stream, and then figure out the alternative for the mutated dogs. My thoughts right now are mutated reptile and mutated rat. Also, mutated insectoid is also on my brain. I'm thinking like Radroach from Fallout. Since this game's kind of inspired by Fallout. Or at least is one of the things that continue to inspire this game. But right now we're on cards. So for the cards, I have two trains of thought, really. Also early stream because I want to play Helldivers this afternoon. But I'm too enthusiastic about this to put it off for the day. So I just want to sit down and like get some stuff figured out so I could like ruminate in my brain space for a while. While I'm like playing games. Like it could be like a background process essentially while I'm gaming. So I have two schools of thought here. One school of thought here is I do what's on the screen right now where I have like the A on both sides. And I actually have this drawn out because I have thoughts. Right. So my other thought is to do it kind of like a gaming card. Like a Pokemon. I got a Pokemon card as a reference. I grabbed this one off of the internet. I don't know anything about this. I actually don't know if this is a real Pokemon, I'll be honest with you. But I'm assuming they use even if it's not real. I needed something for the layout, right? So, and I like the layout for the most part here. Or at least like the elements of where everything is. So I really just needed to know how big this text box was going to be so I could put my own text box over it. But here we have at the top, let me just grab this. Like up here we have the name of the card, right? We have like their XP or whatever. I think this is a previous evolution. And more importantly, we have like the stage of evolution here. We have our moves down here, right? And then we have any extra information down here, like weakness, resistance, retreat, it looks like is a thing. I don't know what that means. And then the extra rule for whatever this generation's rules are. So with these things, I was like, all right, we want to put the A probably up where we have the stage 1 evolution thing. Because we definitely need the heart to be somewhere, right? Like it can't just be by its lonesome forever. Um like we need the heart to be somewhere, or like the card number to be somewhere, and typically it's up here and down below, right? Um where would that other A be? Oh, it's down there, I bet. Yeah. Um there's a reason this was low pass. My other thought is having it down below, right? Like a regular playing card. Um, so I have to decide what I want the purpose for this card to be, right? Like, what do I want it to serve for me? I want it to be, I want to be able. So in the game, we have to pull cards. And we have to pull cards until we win the game by reaching the end, or we hit the Ace of Spades, in which is an instant death. Instant death. Now, here's the shtick: is that in nothing can I, in none of the, in none of the card decks can I manipulate where the cards are in the deck itself. And in this game, you want to take the Ace of Spades and shove it somewhere in the deck. The closer to the top of the deck, the harder the game is, because you have less opportunities to pull cards before you pull the death card. And the further in the deck, the longer it takes for you to pull the death card, the guaranteed death card. There's other ways for you to die in this game, but the guaranteed death card is like it's your one hit KO. That's your time limit, right? But in none of these systems can I, like in Roll20 and Tabletop Simulator, as far as I can tell, I don't think I can pull a card and like place it somewhere in the deck. And so I was struggling a little bit with that, trying to decide what I was gonna do with that information. And I think I've decided, um, we're just gonna let the Ace of Spades be a wild card. Whatever happens, happens, kind of deal. And if it happens too early, then we'll return it to the deck or something, and shuffle it and hope for the best. So what we want this to do is we want this to serve us as a, if we're pulling cards visually, for me, for the organization of the game, and for the benefit of the viewer, the way we use cards here is we're gonna roll a 1d6 at the end of the day, or at the beginning of a day. And whatever you roll on that d6 is going to determine how many cards we pull. Each of the cards has their own meaning and their own description, right? So, and the different suits all have their own purpose. So we have our heart, which is daily struggles, I believe. Then we have like between the club, spade, and the diamond, we have like the raiders are an issue. We have the wonders of the wasteland. So the good and the bad, bad and ugly of the wastelands, And then we also have like things from the past, things from like pre-war, pre-nuclear war. So all of those together will either make the game harder for us, help us, move forward a narrative, and also, kind of pick up the danger of what we're dealing with and what we're running through this wasteland with. So that's what these cards are for, right? Um, when we pull a card, we're going to be looking at the suit, and then we are going to be and the number of the card, and we're going to be cross-referencing the survival guide, which is the guide that just tells us what each card does. So for me, ideally, in case close, I had tables, right? And the tables were the thing I was using to keep it visually interesting for stream, to know what was going on. Um, and for you guys to be able to read what I was reading instead of me just flipping between like, game spaces or tabletop spaces, I was able to simply just, you know, click over to that table, bam, pull it up for stream at the same time. And then went back to like our evidence board, right? And in this case, it's going to be our cards. Our cards are going to be the thing that keeps the visual interest going. That and the map, I believe, are going to be the things that are like visually interesting. I'm thinking if I don't do hexes, something along those lines, where each hex, I'm thinking of doing kind of like in the book where they have like different, each hex has kind of like its own distinct feel to it. I'm thinking of doing something similar, on, I don't know, it might be easier if I did it on like on a tabletop simulator, um, on a virtual tabletop, I should say, like Roll20 or something. Hey, Kalino, how you doing, bud? Um, to be able to like just pull the different hexes with their own like idea on it. A part of me also kind of wants to do it on the fly. Like I want to have maybe like a hex um in Roll20 in on Clip Studio, kind of like I have here, have the template up of a hex, and then on stream we draw like we do a quick sketch of like the important things that happened, or the important features of the landscape we're in. And maybe I even have like some pre-drawn things like a building, or a raider outpost, a campfire, things like that I could just pull up real quick and put in. And that way I could just easily export it as a PNG and throw it up on our tabletop, our virtual tabletop. If I go that way, or like somewhere on OBS, although I'm not in love with the idea of doing it on OBS, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. I'm just not in love with it. I'd rather have it on an easier space like Roll20. But so I pull the card. I need the card to have like, I'm the Ace of Spades, or I am the Heart of Kings. Um, and then from there, I would like there to, I would like the picture in the background sort of to tell me the general gist of the card, like what the card is going to do, if it's good or bad. I would like the description on there, like what I would read in the book. Um, Kind of like I have here the description written down. And then I also, there's two or essentially additional conditions that each card can have, and that is, am I going to pull from the Jenga tower? Um and am I discarding the card, or am I not discarding the card? at the end, because there's some keepers. Sometimes you keep the card, sometimes you throw it out, right? And I would like that to be pretty obvious from the top. Which is why I have these icons at the top. So that's what I want. Things I want, let's write it down. What I want from this is one, I want to be able to see suit and number. That's what I want to be able to see, right? 2, discard, pull from tower. I almost also want there to be some like color distinction on the card itself, but I haven't decided if that's a good idea or not. I want the description on the card, and I want a depiction of, let's do illustration of what the card is. Those are kind of our things or sticks, the things we want here. You want, like, for sure, right? Actually, you could say the same. I can lower it on my side. So I want the suite or the suit and the number. And the number. Discard, pull from tower. It's yes or no, you know? It's like yes or no. Pull from tower. Then description on the card, illustration of what the card is. 5. 5, color coding. Because if I color code, then I don't need like an icon on the card. So that's our tenant. That's what we want in this card, right? So, I think I definitely want a depiction of what's happening, right? So this is my preliminary like sketch essentially of what I want to see in the card. I want to see the suits. I want to have the description box, and I want the illustration, right? So at its most base form, this is what the card would look like. Now, my question here is, do I want the icons of just like yes discard up here and yes pull from the Jenga tower, right? Do I want that to be here? Or whatever the hell I do to depict the Jenga tower? Do I want that to be up here? Or do I want it like up here? Or do I want it to be somewhere down here? And in that same vein, do I care that this is down here? Like, in this just most base form, I like the idea of having the heart on both sides, or the seats on both sides. But I don't know if I really care that much, you know? Hold on, I need to get rid of some bots real quick. All right. You got them. And then, you know, we have the description, or we have the illustration up top. Then we have the description down below, right? We have that down here. And the depiction up top. But once you actually have a real description down here, having this down here just looks messy, right? So we'd want to probably cover that up and just have the depiction up here. I have the edges just being white with like a little black trim on it. At the moment, that could change at any time, but for right now, that's just what we got going. Um, um, I have the depiction going on right there, right? I have the ace up top. I do have like a a little bit of a background on it. Not that it really needs it, but maybe having a background on it once I start like putting some sort of color to this card, maybe a thing. Obviously I have a depiction of the raider attacking um somebody on the ground here. I have these guys here, right? Um Hold on, let me check how they do this. Hmm. They do like an opacity on the back of it. I see. So I could like finish this, right? Have some sort of utility belt, right? I also probably put hotkeys on my accessible hotkeys for my pen and stuff, which has been nice. Fucking little ass legs, McGee over here. Fucking chicken legs, Martin over here. Better. Um, Hold on, I just got asked a stupid question that I need to answer. Okay. Um, Just random shit on there, so it looks like it's all connected. I don't know, I just wanted to look fucking distressed. And over here we have this guy having a bad day, truly. There was a bird so mad outside. It has been screaming for the past, I don't know, like, what time is it? 12 since like 9. It's been out there just screaming. I don't know who's encroaching on their space, but they are unhappy about it. I don't know, some sort of like crumpled something in the background for perspective's sake. I'd have to turn this guy a little bit. Something a little bit more like that. It's a little big. Hey, Trig! Thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for 3 months. Let's go. I hope you're enjoying your turtle emotes. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that the 8 is gonna be a little smaller than that. Welcome to the stream. Today we're just trying to figure out whether or not we're going to do these playing cards or not, how much work they're going to be, and exactly how. The hardest part about this is going to be figuring out the layout. Once I figure out the layout, then it's just, making poorly drawn illustrations for each card, which is going to be a lot of work, but not necessarily the hardest part. Okay, so in theory, we do something like that, but we probably want to move this down. Oh, that's hidden behind some stuff that it doesn't need to be hidden behind. Let's put this over here. No, I feel like a neutral color is probably always the best for the background. I'll put this up, sorry. I'm gonna pull that color down onto the screen. And then like the other thought, right, is putting color to these. Although green's probably not the color to use here, considering green doesn't really exist in this universe. I don't know why. I mean, I guess it's a large, um, it's a large pen. It's so laggy. I'm using the felt pen because you can stack on top of this one. It's like a Copic marker, essentially, if you want to think about it that way. Hey, Vicious! What are you doing? What are you doing? Do I still need the card symbols if I'm adding the text? That's a great question. I would like to have them just for, if nothing else, posterity trick. But you're right. I don't. They may not need to be as big of a star as it is right here, where it's taking up like the whole top section. I'd need them for myself for organizational purposes, so I know which ones I've done and which ones I haven't. Um, but I could also always just like do the game thing where you just throw them at the bottom and then just move this whole thing up. I feel like I still feel like it's missing something, but maybe that's just the way I illustrated this with the gap on top in mind. Yeah, that makes sense. Also stands out now because of the color. Yeah. I agree. Doing well. Miss your face. I miss your face too, Vicious. I hope you're doing well. All is good. Well, my idea is to have some sort of backing on it. In this, it's just a basic gray circle in the background, but that's just because I can change it to whatever color I want. Um, Let me just put it somewhere else. I'm gravitating towards this just because I know that this is where, it goes up here, top, what is that, left, and then bottom right. Oh yeah, make sure to drink some water. This time channel your inner Kool-Aid man. Oh yeah. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. To come back down here. I like that I have that one little thing there. It almost feels like a sun if I were to put it like over here. Do something like that. This isn't official anything. I'm using it as just a thought. Um as thoughts as to how the design's gonna go for these cards and what I need to take into consideration as I add on other elements. Oh, whoops. Well, that's going somewhere. Um, is this my A? That is my A. Put that back up there. Do something like that. Because what we want, our tenants here, again, are, let me throw this up top. Is I want to see the suit and the number, ideally, right? I want to know if I am discarding the card or not discarding the card, and if I'm pulling from the tower or not at visual glance. I'll still have it written down, but visually, I'd like there to be something on the card so I know I either discard it at the end or I keep it at the end after I'm done with it. And whether or not I'm pulling from the tower with that card, along with the description of the card, right? And illustration of what the card is, which is basically just the drawing, right? Like it's just that. And then color coding question mark, which I'm thinking less of now. And to give you guys an idea of what kind of idea I'm going off of, I'm going off of this card, this Pokemon card essentially, is what I'm basing some design choices on. That and what I visually have seen from Magic cards of people doing like their own Magic cards. on Twitter. Like, I've seen Ryumasa put up a few custom MTG cards, or conceptual cards, up normally. I'm not a card game person. That's not my cup of tea, nor is it my like expertise. Like when I was a kid, I collected Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh cards. But I don't own any cards anymore, so like I don't have anything in person I could use. Oh, let's go. It works. Oh my god. So yesterday when I was looking at my stuff on Mix It Up, I noticed that they added a service for the pronouns bot. And so now I can see pronouns on Mix It Up chat. Let's go. I'm just waiting for you, Chatterino. I don't know, Chatterino. I doubt Chatterino has it. Chatterino feels like a Chad app as opposed to like a non an inclusive thing. It has so many options. Anyways, neither here nor there. But I'm happy that Mix It Up has it. But yeah, so I'm going off of this, right? I'm going off of having the description down here. Having the description here, having the name and stuff up here, the illustration mainly being in the top half and the bottom half being dedicated to the description. And then the idea of just a bunch of any other random stuff to be at the very bottom. So if I'm going to have any icons for stuff, I want them to be at the very top or the very bottom. Essentially. Here. I want them to be either down here or I want them to be up here if I'm going to have any icons. Which is why I would like this A to be down there or up here. Just because of that. I guess I could go up here also in the top right. There's nothing wrong with that either. I think it just needs to be on the top for me to see it. Because if it's down here, I'm gonna ignore it just on the principle of the matter. Realized that was there a little too late. Just move the opacity down there so I can continue using that as a reference layer. For heart, somewhere up here. It doesn't have to be this big. And like I said, I could do something to it to make it look more distinct up here, put some sort of backing to it. I want you to know, I've heard both the fucking Billie Eilish sad songs from the random drop she did. One after the other. And I have this on shuffle. The way that these both played. Like, there's TV and the 30th. TV is on 22. Where's the 30th? And the 30th is 34. Imagine 22, 34, and they played almost right after another. All right, that doesn't matter anymore. Okay, fix that. The 30th is just quite generally one of the most depressing songs I've ever heard in my life. So it's not like a haha, I'm chillin' type of song. It's a I'm devastated kind of song. Okay, so ideally this is where we have the description box, right? And ideally, I would like to not to force the illustration to be stuck in a small area. Just so I can, it could, because it's gonna look like, what, probably like this on Roll20, right? I'm gonna have like one there, 3, 4, 5, 6, essentially. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5, 6, right? It's gonna take up the majority of our space here. Because we'll have the map, but I'm thinking the map is either going to be all the way down here, or it's going to be all the way at the top of the screen, or even, ugh, this is what I get. There we go. I moved it on the wrong screen, and Spotify got real mad there. Or I'm going to have it down below where the Spotify thing is, right? I'm going to have it somewhere down here is where the map's going to go, and I'm going to, like, reduce the size of this window by a bit to compensate for that. Because the elements in this game are not numerous. I don't need a ton of stuff on this. I only need, there are, let's see, where's my outline? I have the map, the Jenga tower, which is going to be its own separate camera. That I guess could also be part of the overlay, or is going to be part of the overlay. But with space, more space at the bottom. I'm thinking making the foot of this overlay to about where the top of my head is on this PNG tuber. Maybe a little shorter. So giving myself ample space down below, and that will give me a bunch of space to just have like a random little camera angle for the Jenga tower until it's needed to stay up. Then we have the deck, which is what we're working on right now. And the only time I'm going to really be using them is to pull them for pulling them for gameplay. The entire gameplay is the deck, right? The deck is going to tell us how our day is going to go, and we order them and use them and narrate it in a way that makes sense for the story. We get to pull 1 to 6 cards depending on what we roll on the 1d6. And then there's a log. At the end of the day, we're to do an audio recording or dictating what happened that day. The audio log is as simple as, it's, day 10 of the return trip. Scout PB reporting a pack of mutated anacondas. I don't know, that's the first reptile that came to mind. That'd be horrifying. Also, not very plausible. Anacondas can barely hold up their weight. That's where they're aquatic snakes. After a certain point, reporting a herd of mutated chameleons. I'm thinking of the least likely and dangerous reptiles. A mutated group of geckos. Roaming through sector 1, 2. Also ran into a group of cannibalistic cultists. I gave them wide berth. And my shoe, the sole of my shoe started flapping about halfway through the run. Things are tough out here. The sun is grueling. The weather is awful. The green anaconda in the Amazon. Yeah. I did hear about it. The new anaconda. Very interesting. Anacondas are fascinating creatures because they're so large, um, and can only exist really in the Amazon River, because the Amazon is so unique in the way that, because they are on the equator, that means that the plants there get so much sun all the time. And because of the immense amount of sun, there is a constant water cycle going, because of the river there. So there's always water happening. Which means there's a rich amount of oxygen and in the area, which allows plants to really fucking grow. Which is why you have such tall jungle trees, and why there's such an abundance of life, because there is just such an abundance of plant life that can happen. Even though the sun reaching the bottom, it's kind of terrible for plants, which is why you have so many animals that live in trees in the Amazon, because they're all out there trying to get those raids going. Um, but it really allows for a very unique and varied amount of life to exist there, from plant to mammalian to reptilian to amphibian to insectoid even. Um, and because there's so much, animals are allowed to really grow there or to really reproduce a lot. One of the examples of prey is the anaconda, right? Anacondas are known to grow enormously. Um, 20, 30 feet anacondas are not a rare sight. And they are the apex predator in Amazon rivers. You very rarely see them on land because they are very heavy. Once they get to a certain size, they weigh so much their own body weight would crush them, due to gravity. So you won't really see a lot of them, especially once they start getting very large on land. Um, um, that's why you see them in the water. Sorry, I had to tell someone something. So you had to. So that's why anacondas are in the water, because the water allows their body weight to not crush them via gravity. But they are still, big constrictor snakes, so they are very dangerous. You don't want to be on like the riverside when they're around. Because them unhinging their jaws are is gnarly. Um, but they did find the green anaconda recently. I believe that's what it's called, which is I believe is a 20-foot anaconda they found in the Amazon River. Um, that I'm assuming has more of a greenish tint to it. It's kind of hard to tell when they're underwater, since the water itself is going to have a tint to it. But I'm assuming they called it green anaconda because it was the coloration was green. um, but it is very cool. I think they called it the northern anaconda. Ah, the northern anaconda. Yeah, he's big. He's a big boy. But yeah, it's very cool. I always love hearing about things in the Amazon. It's really truly awful that conservationists have to continue fighting for the Amazon and the right for it to exist and not be deforested and contaminated by large businesses or um large businesses and logging companies, because it is one of the most unique places on the planet. I think only comparable to like the Galapagos or in Truly. Apparently, they are hard to tell apart, and they found out it was a different species through DNA test. Ooh, and the condoms are notoriously not easy to find, actually. So it's not surprising. I don't know if anacondas are. I'd have to assume, but a lot of there's several snake species that are cannibalistic and will eat other snakes of the same kind and also other snakes. They're I was gonna say their hands, but I guess they don't have a hand. Their fangs do not discriminate um when it comes to eating. I have to assume the anaconda is the same since there's only so much aquatic life in the river. So you know they're around, but they're also very fast, which is kind of scary, but also very cool. But that's very imagine getting DNA off of an anaconda. It's gnarly. Very cool. I'm very excited about it. Anyways, you know, snake talk. Welcome to PB has watched too much Animal Planet in her lifetime. Um when I was little, I thought I was going to be a veterinarian because I loved watching Animal Planet and watching the shows about like vets. I really enjoyed those, and I wasn't bothered by watching them do surgery on the different animals. So I was just like, "Oh, this feels like something I could do." Um, Unfortunately, a little too empathetic of a person. A little too empathetic. I don't believe I could do it. Also, I don't like animals that much. To be around them constantly. Because if I've learned anything, is in a lot of the jobs like that, there's a lot of above and beyond that you're probably gonna have to do. And I did not think I was gonna be able to go above and beyond as a vet. If I were like anything in the doctor field, I'd have to leave all of that at work. I could not bring it with me. And it feels like being a vet, sometimes you need to take home with you. And I don't know if I'd have the mental fortitude for that. Okay, so I want something to tell me the going back to this card. um, I need something to tell me what the icons are. Again, I would like to know if I'm pulling from the Jenga tower or I'm not pulling from the Jenga tower, and if I'm discarding it or not discarding it, as evidenced by the X over the trash can. um, I want the X or no X, you know? And then there's the Jenga tower. Let me tell you, trying to figure out what to do for a Jenga tower icon, I gave up and I simply just Googled what other people had done for Jenga tower icons. Again, yeah, I need to actually look at this smaller. Let me look at it on OBS. That's not my mouse, that's the mouse on OBS. Oh, also, like, nothing here is permanent. I'm literally this right now. What we're doing is we're doing all the tests, the stream test, the size test, the everything test, right? So this goes to about 1600. That's the wrong number to be looking at. This goes about to 6 to 80, maybe. Goes about 600, 1600, so it would go to there. And then plus 1600 is 320, right? That'd be where the next one would go. And then 320 plus 1600 is about 5,000. So that's about 4 cards I could pull up there. But if I can do 3, right? I could stack 3 on top of each other. And I won't have this header I'd have to worry about, so it'd be about up here. So I could pretty easily fit like 3 cards. If that's what the pull is, right? Also, sorry, Callan, I know you hate snakes. Sorry for talking about them for so long. So I can have them there. I'm trying to figure out how large these cards need to be realistically. So I can do like a... I guess they can also be bigger because I also won't have these side things. Because that's about the size of a card. It's a little bit smaller. It'll be around there. Easily 4, right? When it's about that big. I think this is too big. I think this is probably the perfect size for this card. So at about there on stream, let me actually pull up stream so I could see it with the bitrate issue. That's the wrong thing I've clicked on. Want that one. New tab. Okay, that's readable. This is also one of the longest cards, like one of the ones with the most text on it. And honestly, a lot of this could be like made less. I didn't write it verbatim, but I did write a lot of it verbatim. Like, you can no longer get lost while traveling in the waste, and rolling a 1 no longer pushes you back a tile. Like that's verbatim from the book. So I could, in fact, like shorten that. And like, you discovered a battered but serviceable compass. That doesn't need to be that long, right? But that's straight from the thing. Pull from the tower and do not discard. I shortened that from a paragraph that just, it was unnecessary. It was just all fluff. So pull from the tower and do not discard. Those are the 2 important ones. So what I could also do, what I can do is what they do in this card. Where is it? I should really just copy this on something. I could do what they do here, and I could put like the... Oh, sorry. I forgot it's still super tiny for you guys. I could get... I could do the icon and then like the word, right? So like weakness, fire here, and then it's just ×2, and then resistance to leaf here. But I'd really only have, and then like retreat, I don't even know what that means in Pokemon terms. But like I could take this and I could just have a, like the bottom part of this would be the, like the trash can, right? And then it would be discard. And then on the other side, it would be... Let me actually do this on a different layer. Do that. I could do like this. Then I do the trash can, right? And then we have discard. I'm just using trash room for discard just because that's the easiest thing I can think of. And then we can have, you know, our Jenga tower icon or whatever here. And then Pull's maybe not the best keyword there. And I don't know if there's any occasion where I need to pull more than one, but I could just do something like that, right? And then I can have like description box up top. This would be smaller. It's just that I do things bigger for myself to start with. Something like that, right? Something like that down there. Then the description up top, right? And it would be part of the description, so maybe I'd make that a little smaller actually to fit the same size as the description box. Because I still need to keep in mind that I have edges actually. That's actually so true. I need to come up here and I need to keep that in mind. The like classic card edge that gets like cut off when you're actually making cards. It'd be something like maybe like that. I need it to be easy to read. Like I guess I could also throw it up here. I could do that there, and that way I'd have also a place for the I don't know where that other one went. Like I could still have the heart up there. What do you guys have to say? Did you consider keywords instead of icons? I like this kind of having the discard and the pull. Or do you mean like in the description box itself, like down here itself, like having pull from the tower and do not discard be a little bit more pronounced in the description? So I'm looking at it tiny just so I could see, you know, what the perspective size is going to be on like actual stream. Either actually. Oh, okay. So we have okay. Okay, you know what? While I'm doing this, let me pull this guy back up and pull this guy back up. I can start thinking a little bit more about this. As if I'm not already thinking a lot about this. It's where I have that. Yeah, I do. Like in this occasion, I would move this down. Maybe a little bit thicker, actually. And then up top, for that here is its own thing. We call this the header. I used to play Hearthstone, which is keywords in bold in the description. Oh, let me look that up. Hearthstone card. Oh, I see. So this one uses like a portrait style instead of like the full art style, full card art style that I'm assuming MTG. I actually don't know too much about Magic the Gathering. Every card I've seen, I'm assuming are the prettier cards that I've seen, which have the full illustration on the card for the most part. and the Pokemon cards, which do something similar. But in this case, it would be something a little bit smaller. So the way that they do it is they have this would like be outside the box, somewhere up here, a little bit larger. It like goes outside of the card actually in Hearthstone. And then they have the Hearthstone is different because it's digital only, yeah. I mean, theory this is also digital. I'm assuming I could also technically think outside of the box and not have to do it in playing card style. But I feel like that is a comfort zone for me. The only other issue is that it doesn't have a name. I guess here. Okay, here's a thought. 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 Okay, we have. Let's throw that here. Mm, How was that? Is that even possible? I did that. Oh, I don't even know how that's possible that I was able to put text in the same box as the other one was. That's actually wild that that worked. I couldn't have done that if I wanted to do that. In fact, I feel like I have tried to do it and it's not worked out for me. All the description box down. Mhm. And move you down here. Do something like that instead. Do something like that. Do that a little bit larger so it actually looks like Ace of Hearts, maybe. That way we have some sort of name for it also. And help me when I get to clubs and spades, when I don't know the difference between the two off the top of my head. Because I'm not used to calling out suits. I could also do this on top. This could also simply just go, I don't know, I was gonna just physically move it up as if that's where this was. What's my attacks if it's not up here? It is up here. No. There we go. I could also move this up here and have a header up there. Have Ace of Hearts. Maybe like actually have the text in red or something so it matches a little bit more. It feels wildly redundant, but that's just because there's an A there. The A is the only one that it's going to look odd with this idea in mind. I would like to play with the A outside of the edge. Or play with that conceptualization. Have like a header like that, maybe? You not even do like the round bit of it. Of that instead. Just move that up a little bit and have an actual card name, which it is something that was bothering me that I didn't have any kind of it felt a little naked to not have anything there, which would then bring me back to having to discard and pull down here. And then I'd have to do some sort of outline on the actual box itself to differentiate it from what I'm looking at. This looks like the lesbian flag in the background. into the outline so it's so it doesn't clash with the black so much. Oh, and Hearthstone has the numbers on the sides. So I could also do oh, the Jenga tower is down below. I'm like, where the fuck did my Jenga tower go? I would move this down. Okay, well, I would move this down here. I could move this all down here. Should probably do the opposite and have this over here and smaller. Something like that. And then down here I have probably pull one there and then discard over here. Discard with a capital D. Then I'd have something like that going on. Some sort of energy like that. And then we have this image down here. Be again, not an official image. It's just simply me trying to get a compositional idea of what I would need visually to fill the card space and what I can push and pull, such as having the image stretch down past the description box. Like we have a good amount of time to decide what we're gonna do here. Looks good. Oh, thank you. I feel like we've got an idea here. We've got a concept. Because there's, again, only, like, 2 things I need to worry about, right? I just need to pull in this. Let me just make sure. Where's my outline? If I were my outline, where would I be? Here, I found it. We have the map that I need, but that's neither here nor there. Rolling is for that. Yep, that's still just moving on the map. Jenga tower, just telling me the rules of the Jenga tower. We have phase 1, which is the journey. I roll 1d6 and draw an equal amount of cards face up, which are going to be these things, right? Refer to the survival guide for each card's meaning. And in this case, we're just going to be pulling a card with a description on it because that's what we want. I'll check the cards here in a second to make sure there's nothing else I really need. Resolve each card in the order you believe serves the narrative best. Okay. At the end of the day, discard the cards unless told otherwise. Roll 1d6 to follow the map rules, which is rolling on the map. Phase 2 is the log. That's neither here nor there with these. Our survival guide is just hearts or daily struggle, diamonds are relics of the past, clubs are the raiders, and spades are the weirdness of the wasteland. Okay, so let me go over to the PDF and just scroll down and look through these again. So we have pull from the tower, pull from the tower, do not roll to move to the next tile. Oh. Let's keep track. Let's keep track to see what's going to be most important here, okay? Let me actually make let's just do a whole new illustration of this. Yeah, sure, we'll make it the same size. Because I'm gonna need to keep a running tally of what's gonna be most important here. I guess I could have made this full. I didn't actually have to paint it all in. It doesn't matter. Okay. So we have pull. We're gonna have pull. Don't roll. It's gonna be that one. Don't discard. Roll 2 times. Okay, those are all the ones that I'm gonna need. All right, let's go through this and see. Pull the tower. I feel like it's gonna have a lot of tally marks. Pull from the tower. Don't roll. Pull from tower. Pull from tower. Don't roll. Pull from tower. Don't roll. Pull from tower. Don't discard. Oh shit. Don't discard. Roll twice. Roll twice. Don't discard. Pull from tower. Roll twice. Oh, here we go. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, you decide whether or not you're gonna pull from tower. I'm gonna count that as pulling from tower, though. Pull from tower, pull from tower, pull from tower, pull from tower, pull from tower. Don't discard. That's a GG. Pull from tower. Roll twice. Pull from tower. Roll twice. Pull from tower. Pull from tower. Pull from tower. Don't discard. And that's it. Okay. What I'm learning here, first of all, pull from tower, very important. Out of 52 cards, we'll say 51 cards because technically the Ace of Spades is an automatic GG's. We have 22 pulls. So half the cards in this deck we're going to have to pull from. So that is definitely something we need to know. In theory, it's a 50-50 chance whether or not we're going to have to pull from the tower. The other three categories, however, are few and far between. Together, they make up a fifth of the deck. Apart, they are negligible. But are important. I had just thought about the discard and don't discard cards. Because there is a card here that tells you to keep the card on the side. Which is this particular card, actually, I think. The Ace of Spades. I think the Ace of Spades is the only one that that tells us to not discard the card and instead keep it on the side. Oh no, it's just not bolded. Do not discard this card. Oh, I'm actually gonna have to read through this. How do you repair it? Did you enjoy eating it? Food, grazing, story, 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 story. There's a special occasion for kings. But I think what I'm gonna do is on each of the, like, the spade, the heart, the diamond, I'm just gonna put, like, a skull inside of those. When I'm doing the king in particular, because if you draw all four of them, if you get four of a kind on the king specifically, you die. That's another death state. Also need to come up with some 1988 aesthetic things to put in as like the background of some of these cards, because we know it's 1988 in theory, because the war started in 1985 in this universe, and in one of the large buildings sticking out from the rubble, somehow 200 years later, we're suspending our disbelief. There's a card where you find the building that's sticking out from the rubble that has two large double doors and a sign that reads, "Now showing Die Hard." And after a quick Google, it shows that it came out in 1988. So something to keep in mind as we work on the art on these cards. But also it's like, I think it's like Fallout punk. I don't know what the exact punk is when you have robots and like advanced technology in olden times. Like I know Fallout was like what, the 50s? And this is taking place in the late 80s. Or we're not taking place in the late 80s. We're taking place in 2200. Basically. But where the world froze in place in this game, it was 1988. and further on and ahead. So I'm reading through these, making sure there's nothing I'm missing. So far, all of these look like they are just narrative questions being asked. Would it make sense to write the game's category on the card instead of the suits? Like instead of Ace of Spades, it's the Raiders or the Weirdness, Relics of the Past, of that. So the hearts are, what's hearts? Daily Struggle. So like that, you mean? Yeah. And that way we have something that's the same as we differentiate past everything. I forget that you guys are looking at the card while I'm scrolling through this PDF. I'll make it bigger for you guys. This suit is gonna kill me. Oh, it's not even down there anymore. Where's the heart? Right there. And we'll probably do some like drop shadow or outline to differentiate the A and the heart from everything. I like that. Having Daily Struggle up there or the Raider. This isn't the Ace of Spades, by the way. I just drew a depiction of the most illustrative background I could think of at 3 in the morning when I was doing this. All right. Do not roll. Narrative, pull, or an or. So pull from the tower or so I can pull from the tower to try and swim across or not roll to move to the next tile. Spicy. Okay. All right, moving ahead. That's a K, so it has its special thing. Narrative, 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 special occasion because it's K. Narrative, 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 special occasion, narrative, 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 special occasion because it's K. Okay, fun. So the very first card, they added something that they forgot to embolden. So I know. Okay, so what did we decide? What were the numbers on this? It was pull, don't roll, don't discard, roll twice. All right, I need to pull up stream again so I can see how big what I'm about to do is going to be. Oh, you can read like Daily Struggle and the stuff on the side. Nice. From the PDF. I didn't know if you guys would be able to. What did we decide? It was going to be probably like this big. A little smaller, eh? Probably like that big. No, we could do bigger. I keep forgetting I'm in the bounds of Clip Studio. We're going to have more room on Roll20. It's about that big. So readable. Oh yeah, 100%. We can make pull, discard, and stuff way smaller. Sorry, I kept trying to make it smaller, but I forgot that I could simply just change the size of the font. And then the bane of my existence, these icons. I'm gonna have to like have a conversation with Matt, 8-bit Abernathy, my friend. He's an icon guy. He knows how icons work. I'm gonna have to ask him for some advice on these icons to make them more readable. And I was never asked. Now that I read through it again, I was never asked for more than one pull. So I can get rid of that. This can actually probably be a little bit bigger, but we're just gonna roll with this for right now. Okay, then we're gonna get. If you want to know how how me making this overlay went and those trackers that I had before, now you know what my life was like. Just constantly resizing things, trying to figure out how it was all gonna work. And this isn't even like anything official. This is just simply all placeholder everything. Just gonna put these in their own folder so I know what they are. I don't even think I need the text on this last one. I actually thinking about it, I think I'm just gonna, because this is so rare. This is simply a. This is only like on 4 cards. For the most part, we're discarding all of them. This is quite literally the only card, um, one of like 3 cards, I think, that we don't discard, right? 4 cards that we don't discard. So we can just have a little icon over there. We don't need to have anything else. Um, the real question is, do I change the back of that one? Why does it look so tiny? Did I make it tiny? Oh, I did make it tiny. Not that big. It looks like a little bit of a mess over there. Maybe I do change the color of it. We'll think about it. Some things to think about. Let me hit a cheeky little save before I move on. And we'll do that. And then we have two more, right? We have... Oh, it's on this. So we have pull. We have don't discard. I need roll twice and don't roll. You do it. What do you write down there? You did write resistance and then an icon that showed what the resistance was. So roll, don't roll. Roll twice or don't roll. That's going to be like some sort of... I'm gonna duplicate this layer. We're gonna name you roll. Gonna move you. Oh, both of those can be deleted. I don't need them. I simply want to change the color of you. Be some sort of neutral blue or some sort, I guess. Do you combine them into roll? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Trig. I'm thinking just making it one thing. Well, I'll consider the color later. Then we have that color. And then what I'm thinking is probably just going to be one six in this system, so I can get away with just doing one die here for readability. Something like that. You know, MXM Tune is actually thinking of or is working on her next album. This I think is I guess I could check. Yeah, this is a cover of Prom Queen by Beach Booney. I just got a million notifications on my phone, so I'm just checking that nothing is important. No, nothing was important. I don't know why I just suddenly decided to start doing it. So now I do times, we'll do a times 0 here. Which means I need to learn how to do, so okay, so maybe I do this then. Oh, that's in the copy. I don't want you in the copy. I want you in the real one. I'm trying my best to be organized here. Because I know that this has a lot of moving parts. This card can be smaller though. That's really big text. Changing the size. I don't need to change the size. I just need to move it. In theory, I separate these into 3 equal slices. In practice, we'll see how that works out. So we get roll, don't roll, roll times 2, and a pull, right? And that's still very visible on screen. I just need to clean up the discard and don't discard. I'm thinking on discard. I have a version that is. It's this one. I have one that is that color, and then I have one that is maybe like a green. So I know that that is a uh like this is discard, this is don't discard maybe. What if I just say discard and then on don't discard it's just don't? I guess since I guess I have to maybe I change the trash can since don't discard is the odd man out. We will discard every card but 4. So it'd be weird to have discard, yeah, keep. And it's like maybe I change the icon from discard to something that would mean don't discard, keep. A keep variant. Discard or keep? That is the question. The Weast. Like a keep there. Because it looks a little it just looks messy to have an X over it. We discard everything, so it is. Let me change that. I guess in this case, I could simply do like one of those, just a that for when I want to discard it. And then I just keep. Okay, sorry, I thought I heard something. And I did, but it was fine. It's an okay, whatever. So I have a discard. So this would be keep, right? Seeing this would be keep. And then what we would normally see is a discard, right? Would it be in bad nomenclature to change it to green when I'm keeping it? To change the color. Have a good night, Trig. Thanks so much for stopping by and thanks for all the advice. Have a good night, and I shall talk to you later. It might be bad nomenclature to. Is nomenclature the right word when there's icons? It's bad iconography practice to change it from red to green. But I feel like that's the only way I'm gonna notice if I have to keep it or not. Granted, I am going to capitalize and not capitalize. I need to change the text here because I can't do it on this Kahlua text. Kahlua text doesn't let me bold it in a significant way. You can't tell when it's bold or not. Let's change this to just Arial. Not Arial Black, I just want Arial. And then I would like keep these on the bottom. Yeah, I do keep pull from the in the middle. And then I would do some sort of like this so I know that I'm reading different notes there. It's been bothering me since yesterday. I've wanted to bold it since I did it yesterday, but I just could not be bothered. Green is often used for gaming things in icon, healing, or attack. I think it'd be fine for a keep. Yeah, I think so. My thought is, or my question, I guess, would be, is since it's in the same exact spot as discard, um, would it be? I think it would be fine because at least it would be changing it up, right? Is like changing it from making it red for the 4 cards that's gonna have a discard. Or I mean the 4 cards that I'm gonna keep are going to be green. And then the red ones are going to be every single other one of them. Okay. So it's about that big. That's really easy to read. I can read it. I know it says pull, roll 0 times, keep or discard. The part that gets a little odd to read is just the text itself. I kind of like the to seeing the daily struggle and the ace card. I almost wonder if I do that, I put them on the other side. I don't think so. I think this is gonna look worse, but we're just gonna change it up. No, I feel like that's gonna look worse. Sorry I keep making it small. I know it becomes harder to see for y'all, but for me, it gives me a good idea of what elements are important or like I need to refocus on. Also, let me just scroll that so it looks a little bit better for you guys. There you go. I still think it looks better like that, right? Yeah, I think that just looks better than that. It puts the emphasis on the daily struggle as opposed to the heart. Let me actually, while I'm here, um, do something for this A so it like stands out from the background. Again, all color is kind of up in the air. Nothing is concrete right now. Somehow, some way, that made that harder to read. I'm gonna do that. I guess maybe I have to do it in like a red instead. I'm gonna do that just so I can see. I keep scrolling on Twitch itself. No, it's still harder. It's gonna have to be a different color. It's gonna have to be something lighter because that reads so much better. You do that then. If I just make the whole thing a lighter color. No. I'm just spitballing for myself. Um let's see. I really today I just want to get the anatomy of this card figured out. And then I'll be happy for today. You know, I will have accomplished my goal of the day. I forgot I moved Discord over here. It's been 2 hours? Oh my god. Well, hello everyone. I hope you guys are having a good day. Thank you everyone who stopped by so far. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are the best. Again, none of this is official. Like, I will and haw about how to make this heart, what font to choose, the icons, the colors of the icon thing. How, like, because, okay, so this game is post-apocalyptic, right? So I'm gonna have to think of a way to make this look kind of post-apocalyptic. Like, the design of the layout. Like I said, the thing that's gonna be most time consuming is me literally making the outline of this card. Like, making the icons, making the card or the description box, making the top box, choosing the font, and choosing like how I'm gonna order things. Like, for example, this card has pull from the tower and a do not discard. Where is that important? Do I throw that at the bottom of the card? In theory, I have that on the card, so I don't need to write it down. I'm still gonna. Um, but I don't need to. Like, and from pull from the deck, not pull from the deck, like how am I gonna, or pull from the tower and not pull from the tower? How am I gonna signify yes, no, you know? Because that's a yes, no question. It's not a will I, won't I? And it's a 50-50, so it needs to look good on both. It's not just like keep, don't keep. Or like the don't roll or roll twice, you know? Those are also occasional, but it needs to be said. Like, in theory, pull is the most important one. Pull is the Jenga tower is the most important one because that's a 50-50. That should get most of the attention. So maybe I move where maybe I move roll over here and I move the Jenga tower over here. So that gets the most attention. Because that's going to be the one, that's our yes, no. That's, are we pulling, are we not pulling? Because again, we rolled, what is this? 5, 10, 15, 20, 22 pulls. Out of a 52 card deck. So that's a little under half, I would say. So that's going to be our most important one to figure out what we're going to write there. You guys are a little too close. I move so much stuff around. You guys are a little too close for my liking to the edge. Oh, perfect. You know what? Actually, maybe one more. I'll be good. One more. Go back one. All right. Okay, so I have that. I'm thinking the edge of the card might be a little too big, actually. Well, also, the edge of the card doesn't need to be white. which I think is what's clashing the most with me. I actually like that. Let me duplicate this. I can then do that again. I could also just simply not have that and just have it be this. And also, this doesn't need to be white. I could give you a black sign and be more on the gray side. How it gets lost in the background of Clip Studio, but it could also be that. It could also be my favorite shade of yellow. Lamau. It could be a lighter shade. So over here. Like, it doesn't have to be nearly as harsh. In fact, we could just almost hide it. Let me not make it straight. Straight black. Let me also hit that save button real quick. Okay. I think for the most part, I'm happy with the anatomy of this card. I think I'm happy with having the title up top with the let me do this with a with my marker. I think I'm happy with having this up here as my title, along with the heart there. I'm happy with this amount of space for our illustration and with the ability of it to kind of go a little bit under the description because it gives me more leeway to do more stuff. I don't think I'm happy with the gray for this background, but I might go with more of like a sepia almost. Like, go with like a sepia, more like that, make it brighter. We'll just have to choose a cleaner background than fucking gray. Have a, I don't know. I don't know, we'll think about it. We'll think about what the background should be here. Um, I'll just do white right now so it stays bright. Instead of that dark gray it has in the background, maybe like some sort of sepia color like that. I'm happy with having our icons where they are down there. I'm happy with having this down here. I just need to make this entire description box a little better, a little bit more readable. And obviously not just made by me drawing a square, an attempt at a rectangle. Today is Thursday? Today is Thursday. I'll see if I stream tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure at this point in time if I'm going to be able to. But if I am, I'll let you know by starting stream and tweeting that I'm streaming and pinging the Discord. But overall, I'm happy with the sort of layout. And I'm happy that we sort of have a language, a card language for the different things we have to do, which is this. Which, I'll be honest with you, I'm simply just going to copy and paste this over here. I'm going to throw that down there so I know I have that reference there. Because we know we have only a very few rolls, don't rolls, or keep, don't keep. More importantly, like don't discard, don't roll, roll twice. We only have a few of those, but those are still important things I need to know as I'm rolling this. Again, these cards exist for me to be able to run the game better. I do not like dead time when I am playing a TTRPG. I don't even like dead time when I'm gaming or like doing this, but I simply do need to concentrate. So I am, in fact, bothered by the silence, but I have to let it not bother me. Because I have to concentrate on making things. I have until I'd say midway next week, before I even get the Jenga tower and video camera and webcam. Like I'll probably get that, like it'll probably arrive near the end of the week. So I have all of next week to work on these cards exclusively before I have to switch over to thinking about the overlay. Then I'm going to spend a little bit of time on the overlay. I do not think I'm going to be able to finish all of this by the 24th. Because I won't get anything until the 20th, and this only gives me a week and a half to make 52 cards. Granted, not all of them are impossible. Some of them are pretty easy to do, kind of just like the case closed. But I'm anticipating this is going to take me probably until Monday to get like this card figured out and actually done correctly before I could like start filling it out and making the illustration. I think one of the things I'm gonna do is just like just fill them all out. Like have a nomenclature for the A and all the suits, the club, the spade, the heart, the diamonds. So I don't think I'll get it done by the 24th. I'd like to, but I don't think it's going to be happening. I think it's going to stress me out too much. So we might have to wait until the 1st of May, which would have been in April had April had 31 days. Because I want to do this on a Wednesday, and the next Wednesday available after the 24th is the 1st. So I think the May 1st is when we're aiming to get this done. To get this project done. So I'll probably just be working on this. I'll be honest with you. Hopefully more leaning towards the evening time. I've just been waking up incredibly early because I've not been feeling well these past couple of weeks. And I've just wanted to go to bed because I have a chronic fatigue issue. So I have just been falling asleep early. Aside from what I would want from my life. But yeah, so I think I'm going to be working on this card for like the weekend, all weekend, until I have to work on the overlay or fixing the overlay. But yeah, so thank you guys for stopping by. I know it's early. I know these are not my streaming hours. My streaming hours are like 3 hours from now. So apologies for that. However, I wanted to get this done. I wanted to get this done with you guys, so I could get your advice as people who know card stuff better than me. I'm still gonna be asking some friends for some advice about certain things, but yeah, for the most part, this is the game. We did it. This is basically what it's gonna look like, except cleaner, nicer, and a little bit probably more distressed because that's just the vibe. Again, the heart is not this heart as we find the compass. Obviously this art does not demonstrate that, but there's a lot of raider cards. A lot of our, I think raiders or spades are like this. It's just you being attacked by raiders in some form or another. And I wanted to make, and I knew that that was probably going to be the most the art that would encompass the most space, because like I find the compass isn't hard, right? That is at most one subject and one object, right? Um, but when you're being attacked by raiders in 12 different manners, I need space to depict that. And like I said, for the king and queen, I'm probably gonna do something on this I'm probably gonna do something here to like describe a skull, right? Something like maybe cheesy like that on a K. Um oh, because these also don't need to be this close to each other now that I'm thinking about it. We can separate those a little bit. But yeah, so like the K is gonna look something, you know, with that energy, with a skull on it. Because once you get 4 of those, you die. If you get 4 of a kind, you die. So it's something we're gonna have to keep in mind for pulling the Ks and keeping them on the outside of the deck. I hit this with a save again. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for all the advice, all the help. We'll be working on this for a while. I can't believe I thought of this idea last night. Maybe I thought about it because I was real loopy. Like I said, I was dizzy. Which doesn't happen to me that often, so I was a little freaked out by it, but you know, we persevered. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I know it's an earlier time. I'm trying not to make a habit out of it, but I knew that this afternoon I wanted to be playing Helldivers, so I just wanted to get a stream done today. And also get this done because it was sitting in my head. Like the ambition to do it was sitting in my head and I wanted to get it done. So we did it. And I'm proud of us. And now that that is all laid out, I can figure out how it's supposed to look. Like this is what we've done today is the sketch. So but yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Next stream is probably going to be on Tuesday, maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday. I have to check my schedule to see if I have something on that day. But yeah, so thank you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. Don't forget to be nice to each other and don't forget to be compassionate. And I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye. And yeah, I'm not gonna keep you guys because I gotta go do some stuff, but thank you guys so much again for stopping by and watching. I know it's not my regular hour, so honestly, I'm surprised to see anybody here. I appreciate you guys so much, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your days. A lot of PB hearts.